All right, it's January 27th, and welcome to the NBA show! We are back. This is our brand new season, baby.
We are back from Christmas vacation. We are glad to be here. We've braved snow and ice today.
Subscribe to us on iTunes.
It was a little bit of a trek to get in here this morning. I am actually here in my ever so formal hiking boots.
When was the last time you saw an investment banker with snow pants on?
With snow pants on. Very, very nice. So we're glad to be back and get into it. Let's kick it off with
some
headlines. Our first headline, big news.
We're all getting jobs
again!
Yes. All right, it's good news on the horizon.
So the GMAT, the company that releases the GMAT, they released their annual study, their end-of-year study of corporate recruiters. And when they surveyed recruiters, everything is up. 20% more companies hired MBAs last year than did in 2009. Even more are planning to do it this year. Nearly everyone is maintaining or increasing salaries as part of this.
I love this. It's nothing but good news.
Yep.
Nothing but good news. Unemployment is at 9.4%. Housing prices are down, and hiring for MBAs is up 20%. Yes!
Wait, Tom, is that good news, Tom?
Oh, well, sort of. I'm trying a new business presentation technique.
What's that?
What I do is I take a bunch of bad news, you put one piece of good news at the end, but you present the whole thing like it's good. Here, I'll give you another. I'll give you another example.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Our national budget deficit this year, $1.5 trillion. Our national debt, $13 trillion. But 64% of companies are hiring MBAs this year.
Oh wow, that is great. That is great news. It does work.
Well, things are looking bright, my friend.
Okay, I can see why. I can see why you'd say that.
Bad news for everyone else, but good news for us.
So let's move on to some other slightly troubling news. Our next headline, your non-Harvard degree is worth nothing.
So a lot of people are often wondering how many business schools are in what they would call the top tier. And what we've been doing an informal poll of this, and what we have found is if you talk to somebody, at a 5th-ranked MBA program, what they'll say is, there's about 5 schools in the top tier. And if you talk to somebody in a 9th, ranked 9, they'll say, there's about 9 programs in the top tier. So how many people are in the top tier?
So for the first time, we actually have academic work behind this. A professor at Northwestern University, Lauren Rivera, got access to some of the top firms, and she found the true number of truly elite business schools in this country. And the number is 2.
Ooh.
It's basically Harvard and Wharton.
Well, so it's okay. That hurts a little bit.
Yeah. So what she got access to several of these prominent firms and got to look at their recruiting practices. And one of the things that she found was that the hiring culture of these top investment banking consulting firms is exceptionally focused on pedigree.
Okay. Well, that's not a huge surprise to me that they're obsessed with pedigree. I mean, we kind of knew that. What is a surprise to me is that the number of schools that they're focused on is so small. So 2, that seems like such a small number.
Yeah, and it's not scientifically 2, but to give you a sense of what we found. So she talked to one of the people in the study, and he gave her this quote. He's talking about being at a career fair, and someone comes up to him, and that person says, hey, I didn't go to HBS, but I'm an engineer at MIT, and I heard about this career fair, and I wanted to come meet you in New York. And you know what the consultant said in response to that? He says his response is, God bless that kid for the effort, but it's just not going to work.
Gosh, that is scathing.
It's like it stings.
Yeah,
and
it does not feel good.
And God forbid your resume comes from Rutgers.
Read the quote about that.
So the quote is that if your resume comes from Rutgers, the consultant goes, I'm really just being honest here. It basically goes into a black hole.
Gosh. Ow, man.
So, this hurts. And I got to say, this hurts me as one of many people who applied and was rejected.
As a non-Harvard. Well, you'll get through in this life.
It was rejected from business schools. And that terror when you get rejected is that you've missed out on some big opportunity or some big access when you're rejected from any school.
Right.
And I feel like this study just hits home that existential fear.
Yeah, right. Well, I think, and there is a takeaway here for the ordinary non-Harvard folks.
And not even ordinary. We're talking top schools.
Yeah, sure. But the takeaway here is you can still get these jobs. You can still get the jobs, but what you should not expect is for your degree to be some kind of golden pass into these jobs. You need to bring the skills. You need to present yourself you're putting on a show.
And so when you're going to those people, you can't say, hire me because I'm from, this amazing school, this
Right.
MIT, this Columbia, this, this Booth, this, this thing. You got to say, hire me because of me and the skills that I bring to it.
Exactly. Which actually brings us to our jargon.
So our piece of jargon today is fairy dust.
So no, fairy dust is not some kind of hot new NBA street drug, which was that's what I first thought when I heard about it.
So what is fairy dust?
What is fairy dust? So what fairy dust is fairy dust is what your resume gets on it if you rub it really hard against Harvard.
So I rubbed myself really hard against Harvard once, and I didn't get much of anything.
That's a different kind of rubbing.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me give you an example of how this might be used in a sentence.
Yeah.
Is suppose somebody says, so Tom, why are you getting a dual degree at the Harvard Kennedy School? Your response to that might be, well, aside from the obvious fairy dust advantage from going to Harvard, I'm also planning to go into politics.
So what's with the Harvard this week? Why must every example be Harvard this week?
So the reason why we picked fairy dust is because of the previous article, obviously, but the reason why we use Harvard as an example, the only time I've ever heard the term fairy dust used is when people are referring to our Harvard degree. You get the Harvard fairy dust.
We got to start using Stanford. That's got to be our example more often.
And thanks for watching. I'm Miro Kaz.
I'm the real Tom Rose.
Make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, and you've been watching The NBA Show.